welcome to this first video. It's part one of a three-part series, how to create out of the box. So the first one, we're going to talk about getting back into the box.
If we look at this drawing in front of us, it is a very realistic drawing of what was in front of me. I think if you want to do art that is amazing and say you want to say it is out of the box, you need to climb into your box first and understand your subject matter. You need to look at your shapes. You need to know where the light comes from. You need to look at values. You need to look at composition. And you need to really understand your color that you are going to put down. It's a very good idea always to do a few drawings and exercises and understand where your warmer color will be and where your colder colors will be, and how to take your shadows through your painting so that you have an interesting road through your art. At the end, this is how our first art piece will be handled. I'm going to discuss quite a few things here, especially watercolor as a medium. On our part 2 series, we're going to look at this same subject and distort it and maybe do a bit of mixed media. And towards our third video, we're going to really be loosened so that we can do maybe an art piece with 2-dimension or 3-dimension, or a interesting way to handle the art because we have understood our subject matter.
So welcome. Hope you enjoy this.
When we start a watercolor like this one, we're going to do the wet and wet technique, where you put in down water first and then you start doing your color. If you do color, you use a clean color for your object, like I've done here now, using cobalt turquoise. You can also use some cerulean if you do not have a cobalt turquoise. Then I use some cobalt, and after that, right about now, I'm using some French Ultra. The reason why I use different colors is to keep the interest in the object that I am painting currently. The light's shining through from different angles, and to make a 3-dimensional object at the end of the time. Also, you're going to use your blues as your shadow colors in your objects, and all over where you get all your shadows. It's a good time now while you are using your blues to run all your blues in now. While it's wet, you can manipulate it, run in more and make it darker. You must always remember, watercolor, if you think it's too dark, it's going to dry a lot lighter, and eventually after your first wash, you will have a very light effect to start off your second layer on top of that. Even in your porcelain, you will put your blues down on your white areas, so that you do not only have a bland white area. Yellow, I'm using a cold yellow on the colder side, and I will use a warm yellow on the warmer side. You can always remember to lift up color and manipulate it as long as your paper is wet. By now you will finish your first wash and dry it. After putting down your first wash, you're going to start putting in some detail. I've decided to rather go for a delft design on my teapot, because the blues and the yellows make a very nice composition for me. So I've changed my design on my teapot a little bit. This is now a time for you to just play and reflect on your end product. Where do you want to go and what do you want to get with this painting at the end of the day?
I'm sitting here in the boring room. It's just another rainy Sunday afternoon. I'm wasting my time, I got nothing to do. I'm hanging around, I'm waiting for you, but nothing ever happens. And I wonder, I'm driving around in my car. I'm driving too fast, I'm driving too far. I'd like to change my point of view. I feel so lonely, I'm waiting for you, but nothing ever happens. And I wonder how, I wonder why. Yesterday you told me about the blue, blue sky, and all that I can see is just a yellow lemon tree. I'm turning my head up and down. I'm turning, 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 turning around, and all that I can see is just another lemon tree. Sing, da, 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 dee, da, 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 dee, da, 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 dee, dee, da.
Putting down your shadows and your colors into your objects, like the side of the bowl, your paint will have a different consistency. You will have more paint, more pigment, and less water for the whole effect of the darker side versus the light side. Remember, when you do yellows and you want to go to a shadow effect on yellows, it's always good to use your complement. In this case, I use some purple, and in my lemon, I'm working with different ways to try to get the skin of the lemon. I use some sandpaper and some pencils that I graded onto the wet paper. While it's wet, it can make very nice effects. So this is a very good time to play around a little bit and look for details. Look for interesting details, shapes and forms now. This is what you needed to sort out when you were practicing your drawing, so that you can know where to go from here. Working on the bottle, we're going to put down our second wash or second coat. We are using our French Ultra. I've mixed in a little bit of neutral tint in my blue just to make it a stronger, darker blue. Remember, it's same as the bowl now. Less water, more paint in your pigment. Drawing in the shapes and shadows that you see on your bottle, looking for places where the light will come through, and really observing your object at this point in time, because all this will make it look three-dimensional at the end of the day, not a flat object that you see from the front. It is a good time now to just draw with the point of your paintbrush.
I'm sitting here, I miss the power. I'd like to go out, taking a shower, but there's a heavy cloud inside my head. I feel so tired, put myself into bed. Well, nothing ever happens, and I wonder. Isolation is not good for me. Isolation, I don't want to sit on a lemon tree. I'm stepping around in the desert of joy. Baby, anyhow I'll get another toy, and everything will happen. And you wonder, I wonder how, I wonder why. Yesterday you told me about the blue, blue sky, and all that I can see is just another lemon tree. I'm turning my head up and down. I'm turning, 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 turning around, and all that I can see is just...
In painting, we always have some hard edges and soft edges. The same will happen with watercolor. You will see on the bottle sometimes there's a hard edge. If I do not want that hard edge there, I will soften it with some clean water on my brush, so that we do not have a hard edge where we don't want it. Hard edges on places like on the rim of the bottle or the side sometimes is very necessary. Remember, you can decide the type of line or the thickness or the quality of your line by putting down and rubbing out with a brush and clean water. At this point, we are looking at more detail on our objects, looking for interesting shapes and color, because now we are near to the end where we want to have a good, strong painting. Our paint consistency are a lot more paint and less water. So if we do oil paint, this is the time where we will say we will start putting in the butter. But the same with watercolor. Remember, we are putting down our creamer so that we do not use a lot of water in our pigment. We are really using our paint strong. Shadows play a very important part in painting. In this case, it grounds our objects on our table. So we also flood in colors that is used in our painting. If there's blues, use your blues. If there is reds in your object, use your reds. So that it will always have a very interesting look. Do not go for a black, 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 dark. There is light and color in shadows as well. Also remember to connect your shadows into your objects as well. The use of your paintbrush is a very important part of watercolor painting, especially towards the finishing touches of a painting. You take your point of your paintbrush, your round paintbrush, and draw in details, draw in fine lines, draw in what you can see, and your details that is needed there. That's a skill that needed to be developed as well. So give some separate time towards that, maybe in the future as well.
Isolation is not good for me. isolation. I don't want to sit on a lemon tree. I'm stepping around in the desert of joy. Maybe anyhow I'll get another toy.
The use of white gouache in watercolor painting is always a very exciting time, especially if you lost some of the highlights on some of your areas. You can use it very sparingly, because if you overdo it, you can have a very opaque look on your painting. But yes, this is now the last part where you can put in highlights on your painting. As a finishing touch, I dropped some yellow into the dark areas of your table, so it will look like a nice reflection. It is also a way to have the painting to hold hands through the dark and the light areas. This is a risk that you can take, but I think in this case it was worth it.
And all that I can see is just a yellow lemon tree.